I'm here because you told me to come to the show. Well, you need to leave. Well, why are you telling me to leave? You just told me to come. No, I really do insist that you need to leave. I mean, I can't. Fine. I'll leave. Bye. Suit yourself. Thanks, I appreciate it. Now this tutorial, as you might have noticed, is about cloning. So, you're going to learn a couple ways to clone, including the way of the green screen, as you see right here. There's another way, it's a little bit more simple, but you have to be a lot more careful with it, and it's what I like to call cropping. But I'm going to teach you both ways, just so that you have a lot of knowledge in cloning. So, without further ado, let's get started on this next tutorial. How's it going, everyone? This is Andrew Walski for Tech Central Tutorials. So, as you just saw, we are going to be learning how to clone today. I should actually mention this before I go any further. This is going to be a two-part video, as there are two main ways to clone. The first one that I'm going to show you how to do is, like I said, what I call cropping. Might be a technical term for it, but basically what you are doing is cropping. This video is gonna be about cropping, and later there will be a video uploaded about actually using green screen. I was thinking about putting them into one video, but simply the green screen one takes a little bit longer to show, so I didn't want to have to make this super long video. This one's pretty simple. It should only be 5 or 6 or 7 minutes long, depending on how smoothly things go. But nevertheless, let's get started. Alright, so first what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to import the files that you have your green screen on. Alright, so I'm just going to use the same videos that I did for the intro. Okay, so as you can see, we have these two separate videos here. We have the one where I'm talking on the left, and we have the one where I'm talking on the right. So I'm not going to match up the sound or anything just for the sake of the tutorial. So I'm actually just going to delete the sound for now. I'm just going to simply use video. This way, cropping is, like I said, a lot easier. So first thing you want to do is put the tracks right above each other. The one on the left above the one on the right. Matching up sound is a whole different story, but that's pretty self-explanatory. So what you're going to do after that is you want to click on this top one. You want to go to Video Effects and scroll down to, so not down too much, but go on Cookie Cutter and do Square Center White Border and put it on the top video. Okay, so next what you want to do is you're going to want to make the size pretty big, not too big, but center you're going to want to move it over to about halfway. So that way both sections of the video are in. Okay. And then you're going to want to take the, well, color doesn't really matter because they're not going to have any color anyways. But the border, you're going to want to move it all the way down, so that way there's no color, there's nothing, you can't tell that there's a border. Except you can, because this is one of the main problems with cloning this way, is that you can, most of the time you can tell the color difference. As you can see right here, this one's lighter green than this. And they were shot around the same time of day. Like, they were shot literally a minute apart. Simple fact is, this side is just darker than this side. Or, you know, there might have been different lighting conditions. But you got to be really careful with this one. Okay, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just going to show you basically how to clone with this. I'm not going to necessarily go too deep into matching up the colors and anything, because that is actually a little bit more complicated. But so that's what you want to do first. You want to do, like I said, videos on top of each other. Go to Video Effects, Square Center White Border, put it on the top video. Border is all the way down to 0, and the size, make it a little bit larger so that way you can see both sides of the video. Okay, so this is basically how this is done. It's as simple as that, really. And for most of the video, it looks pretty good. You know, you can see the color difference, but other than that, there's really not too much difference. But there is. Actually, I lied. Okay, so as you can see, my hand's going up right there. Actually, let me just go frame by frame so we can get a good glimpse. Okay, see my hand's going up right there. Well, if you go far enough, you can see that my hand's getting cut off right here. That's another problem of doing cloning in this way. A lot of things will get cut off if you move around too much. So you have to be really careful, or you have to go frame by frame and adjust the crop each time, which is very time consuming. And to be honest, green screening isn't, or not green screening, why can't I talk? Cloning isn't that hard, so it shouldn't take any more time than either of these tutorials do. So this is the way I don't recommend doing it, okay? Unless you, unless you absolutely don't have access to a green screen or a solid color background, then I wouldn't recommend doing this, okay? If you don't have access to any solid colors, then yeah, go ahead and do this method. Just be, careful, kind of adjust, play around with colors and whatnot, and maybe you'll get it to look okay. But other than that, it's really just kind of luck of the draw. Now, what you can do, sometimes this will help. I don't know if it'll help this time, but you can click on this little green icon right here, on the bottom one, and go to Screen. Sometimes it helps, but it didn't actually help this time. It makes that one a lot worse, so you just want to keep it on Source Alpha. But really, it doesn't make too much of a difference. But yeah, so that's a basic way of cloning. Okay, it's basic, but I really only recommend it if you're not moving around too much. So basically, if you want to do it quickly and you're not moving around too much. Now, here are some of the pros and cons of this way. A pro is that it's fast and easy. It's not that difficult to do at all. As you can see, it took me less than a minute. Well, it would have taken me less than a minute if I wouldn't have, showed you step by step. If I would have just done it straight through, it would have taken me less than a minute. So it's very fast to do. Second pro is that generally it looks pretty good. If you're not moving around, if you're just sitting on a couch or something with one person at one end and the other person at the other end, generally it works and it looks good. Now, some of the cons are that you have to be really careful with it. As you can see, there's generally a lot of color difference. So you have to film you have to film the videos right after another. You can't wait until the next day. You can't wait another, 20 minutes or so. You can't wait another hour. You can't wait until later that day. You have to do it literally at the exact same time. Otherwise, it won't work. Because conditions have to be the exact same, or you have to emulate the conditions very, very carefully and very, very precisely in order for them to look good. Okay, because you can see these videos were filmed less than 5 minutes apart, and you can still see the difference. Just because it's evening, you can see it's 6:12 at night. These were shot at like 5:30, but they were shot not that long apart, and they still can tell the difference because of changing light conditions. So you have to be really careful. Unless you're willing to play around with the light to get it to look right, then this isn't a good way. Second thing is that if you're moving around, it's not going to work because things are going to get cut off, like my hand that one time. Let me see if there's a better example. Right, where is it? There. So you can see my hands just come out of nowhere. You can see they're getting cut off right here. Okay, so that's another thing. And the last thing, which kind of goes hand in hand with the previous one, the two characters, or two clones of yourself, they can't have any interaction with one another. They can't overlap, the videos can't overlap, you can't have any kind of interaction, otherwise, again, it will become cut off. So that's another con, is that the characters can't have any interaction. But again, this is a basic way, it's simple, it's fast, it's easy, and it generally looks pretty good if you do it right. But anyways, that is the first way of cloning. Again, the next video, you can click right about here to go to part 2 once it's uploaded. Once it's uploaded, there will be an annotation right here, or a link in the description if you're on a mobile phone. But, so yeah, part 2 will be coming pretty soon, very soon actually. So, thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share. And just remember that this is your one-stop shop for all your latest tutorials and how-tos.